Hi everybody and welcome back. We're going to do a piece of history today. This bandsaw from the 1870s. I usually go with 1874 for the date. That's the most recent patent date that's cast in here. There's all sorts of dates. 1868, 1871, 1872, 1874. Reissued 1863. No idea what that is. But the saw is made by J.A. Fay and Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. They just put an O. And J.A. Fay was one of the big American tool makers, probably one of the biggest tool makers in the world at that time. They exported all over the world, Australia, Europe, everywhere. And at the time, they made about 200 machines. This is their catalog from 1878. And we have, as you can see, we have, I think, the #1 bandsawing machine. They had a little machine called the Gem. Cute little thing. They had a #0 with this cool ash and walnut laminated table. And then they had a bunch of big saws going into enormous saws with 5-foot wheels made for sawing lumber. They also were very proud of the fact that they were the sole distributor for these the finest French saw blades. So anyway, it's made by J.A. Fay, and the whole catalog, this is not home woodworking machine. There was no home woodworking machines because there was no electricity. Back when this was made, Thomas Edison was in his late 20s, and he was still working on a light bulb that lasted more than an hour. So it wasn't too long after this, he figured out the light bulb. They were doing power companies, electrical grids, and everything. But when this was made, it was powered by steam or water. So this would have been on a long factory floor, probably with a bunch of other machines. Out back would have been a steam engine, or if they were near a river, a water wheel, which would have powered a line shaft that ran along the ceiling. It would look something like this, with big leather belts, and there would have been one of these big wide leather belts coming down to this machine on that side, and there was a big pedal here that they called it shipping the belt. It would lift the belt off the machine, so when this machine operator wanted to stop his saw, the whole factory didn't have to stop. And it also had a brake that would clamp down and stop this saw from spinning. Obviously, at some point, someone put an electric motor on this. They put a thermal overload setup, and aside from that, all I've done is put on these blue polyurethane tires. This one has a rim of wood under it, so it's metal, wood, and then the tire. You can see they did this elaborate wheel. This is one of the patents listed on the bottom of the machine. They claim this gave it a little flexibility, lightweight and flexibility. And they claim this saw was the lightweight version, best for shipping long distances. But it weighs like 12 or 1,500 pounds. I don't know what I guess compared to their big machines, it's the lightweight. Not only was this before light bulbs, before electric motors, before any of that, it was before ball bearings. So it's got what we call nowadays Babbitt bearings. And they're in here, and what they would do is take the shaft, position it in the bearing housing, and pour hot metal, this mixture of tin and lead, in there, let it harden, clean it up, pour the cap, put them together, and you have these Babbitt bearings. When they wear out, you pour new metal in. So they all have manual oilers with wool wicks going down, worsted wool. So there's oilers all over this machine, and you got to manually oil it. The blade guide is from a similar period, but a different saw. This is not the blade guide that came off this saw. That's from a Goodell and Waters, it says. Another old tool company. Otherwise, it's a bandsaw. They're pretty simple devices. The blade tensioning is this big lever here. There used to be about a 15-pound weight that for less tension, you would slide it in. More tension, you would put it out. A couple years ago, I put this tie-down strap on, and I haven't touched it since. There's a tracking knob. I haven't touched that since I first set it up either. I can change blades, and the saw just stays on track. I don't have to touch it. With this saw, I got this cool blade box and a bunch of blades. Some of these are newer, but I can put any of these blades on the machine, and it just tracks perfectly. So we'll fire it up. You can see it's got all the latest safety guards. There was a little piece of metal here they called a safety thing. I put this on. And a prior owner did build that for the bottom wheel. I should probably put a guide on for the top wheel. I've also, just like the big lathe, I put a foot switch on it. So if you have some big thing in your hands, you can start and stop the machine. Without the guides, it creates quite a breeze. As you can see, it runs really well. Some of the things I've made with this are mostly pieces I'm going to use for coffee table bases. That was cut from the bottom of a walnut tree. Actually, here's another piece of that same tree. I've cut bunches of curves. This one's from ash. And these are going to be various sculptural table bases. This is another part of that log that I don't know what I'll do with that. Venture a swinger maybe something. I've done some resawing. It chews through thick walnut. This one obviously warped, but you can kind of get the idea. And that's it for today. We'll see you next time.
Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos.